This week's One Piece chapter dropped, and let me tell you, it was intense. We're talking sacrifices that send shockwaves through the fanbase, shocking character appearances that redefine the current trajectory of the story, and the unsettling implication of a certain someone making a very unwelcome appearance on the sacred lands of Elbaf. If you thought things were heating up before, buckle up, because One Piece chapter 1149 just cranked the temperature to a whole new level. Let's not waste any time and dive right into the thick of it. First off, let's take a moment to appreciate the seemingly lighthearted cover page. We see our beloved captain, Monkey D. Luffy, alongside the ever-adorable Tony Chopper and the chief Vinsmoke Sanji, all caught up in the simple joy of a carefree ride. It's the kind of whimsical imagery that reminds us of the core spirit of the Straw Hats' adventures. However, as is often the case with Eiichiro Oda, beneath the veneer of lightheartedness often lies a deeper, more significant layer. This week's color spread initially presents a charming scene. Several members of the Straw Hat crew, alongside the enigmatic Lilith and the determined jewelry Bonnie, all within the quaint setting of a maid cafe. The artistry is undeniably pleasant, filled with the kind of intricate details we've come to expect and adore from Oda-sensei. But it's when we focus our attention on Bonnie that a chilling detail emerges. On the tray she's holding, we clearly see the letters R.I.P. emblazoned. What follows is tantalizingly obscured by her arm, leaving us in a state of suspense and unease. This immediately triggers a sense of foreboding. Could this be yet another instance of Oda masterfully foreshadowing a character's demise, much like he did with Portgas d'Ace back in chapter 520, where Luffy's reaction to the cards hinted at the tragedy to come? The question that burns in every fan's mind is, whose death is being foreshadowed this time? The R.I.P. is stark and unambiguous. Is it someone we know well, someone connected to Bonnie? The possibilities, though unsettling, are numerous and fuel intense speculation within the community. Who do you think this ominous message pertains to? Now, let's pivot to what is arguably the most impactful and emotionally charged moment of this chapter, the unexpected and heroic actions of the legendary Scopper Gaban. This figure, shrouded in a certain mystique since his brief glimpses alongside the Roger Pirates, finally takes center stage in a way few could have predicted. In a breathtaking and utterly shocking turn of events, Gaban unleashes what is described as his secret haki. This isn't just any application of haki, it's something unique, something perhaps honed over decades of experience on the Grand Line. With a resolute determination etched on his face and his trusty axe firmly in hand, Scopper Gaban makes the ultimate sacrifice. He throws himself into the fray, directly confronting one of the seemingly insurmountable God's Knights, Saint Summers. The impact of this selfless act reverberates immediately. The Straw Hats, who are present at the scene, are depicted as being utterly stunned into silence. Among them, it is Nami, the Straw Hats' astute navigator, who is the only one to recognize the legendary figure. This recognition adds another layer of weight to the moment, connecting the present generation to the powerful figures of the past. Even the seemingly impervious Saint Summers, a celestial dragon who has previously been portrayed as someone who bizarrely enjoys pain and suffering, is shown to be completely overwhelmed by Gaban's attack. He collapses, writhing in visible agony, a stark contrast to his usual demeanor. This reaction underscores the sheer force and unexpected nature of Gaban's sacrifice. Our ever-curious and often bewildered sniper Usopp voices the question on all our minds, desperately trying to comprehend how the seemingly aged veteran managed to pull off such a powerful attack. He wants to know the mechanics, the secret behind the old legend's prowess. However, despite the initial shock and the apparent success of his attack, the battle was far from over. The narrative quickly reminds us that Scopper Gaban, despite his legendary status and the potent display of his haki, is not the same force he was in his prime. Decades spent away from the heat of constant battle, in what is implied to be a state of retirement, have inevitably taken their toll. The chapter explicitly mentions that Gaban was rusty, a poignant reminder that even the mightiest of warriors are subject to the passage of time. Even in his somewhat diminished state, Gaban's fighting spirit remains unbroken. As Saint Summers attempts a desperate defense, conjuring a briar barrier, Gaban presses his attack with a furious rush, his axe spinning menacingly. The panel depicting this moment leaves us on a cliffhanger, with Gaban's axe meeting the reinforced thorns of the barrier. We don't get to see the immediate aftermath, leaving us in suspense as to the full impact of the clash and Gaban's ultimate fate. The resilience of Saint Summers, even after such a devastating blow, hints at the immense power and the inherent danger posed by the God's Knights. And just when we thought the chapter couldn't possibly throw any more at us, Oda drops another bombshell. well. Imu, the enigmatic ruler of the world government, is on Elbaf. This revelation sends shivers down the spine. What could be the reason for Imu's personal presence on the island of the giants? Elbaf holds significant weight in the One Piece world, steeped in history and the formidable strength of its inhabitants. Imu's arrival here can only signify an event of paramount importance, likely with dire implications for both the giants and the Straw Hat crew. This single panel elevates the stakes of the current arc to an unprecedented level. Adding another layer of intrigue to the unfolding events is the discussion surrounding the potential for a discrepancy in the flow of time on Elbaf compared to the rest of the world. The chapter touches upon the lifespan of individuals within the One Piece universe, and drawing broader conclusions about typical longevity. While we don't get a definitive answer, the possibility that time might be passing at a different rate on Elbaf raises a plethora of questions. If time indeed flows differently on Elbaf, how long have the Straw Hats actually been on the island? Could this temporal anomaly have wider implications for the overall timeline of the story? Furthermore, this raises questions about the simultaneous events occurring elsewhere. Is Yamato's pilgrimage happening at the same relative pace? If time moves twice as fast on Elbaf, for instance, the rest of the world could have undergone significant changes while the Straw Hats have been focused on their current challenges. This notion ties directly into Gunko's earlier mention of the final war rapidly approaching. If the Straw Hats are operating under a different temporal framework on Elbaf, could they potentially be behind schedule in the grand scheme of things? This adds a layer of urgency to their current endeavors. The chapter also highlights the crew's focus on overcoming their individual weaknesses and Chopper's relentless pursuit of new power-ups. This suggests a crucial period of growth and preparation, but the question remains, will they have enough time given the accelerating timeline of the world around them? The confluence of these elements, Scopper Gaban's sacrifice, Imu's arrival, and the potential time dilation paints a picture of a rapidly escalating conflict where the stakes are higher than ever before. The lines between the past, present, and future seem to be blurring, and the path to the final war is becoming increasingly clearer even if shrouded in uncertainty. Wow, One Piece. Chapter 1149 was an absolute roller coaster of emotions and revelations. Scopper Gaban's selfless act was both heroic and heartbreaking. Imu's appearance on Elbaf sends chills down my spine, and the potential time difference, well, that just throws a whole new wrench into the already intricate mechanics of Oda's storytelling. What were your biggest takeaways from this chapter? Did Scopper Gaban's sacrifice surprise you as much as it did me? What do you think Imu's presence on Elbaf signifies? And how do you feel about the possibility of time flowing differently there? Do you still believe this arc will heavily focus on Usopp's development, especially with Brook's compelling backstory seemingly drawing to a close? The narrative threads are becoming increasingly intertwined, and the anticipation for what comes next is almost unbearable. Let me know all your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comment section below. I always love reading what you guys think. Thank you so incredibly much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's video and want to stay updated on all things One Piece, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update.